Hello everybody and welcome back to my channel. So today I've decided I want to do a bit of fan art for a movie that I recently watched. That movie in question is called ENCANTO, and it is a really good movie, especially if you like Disney movies. The music in it is amazing and I love all of the characters. The story and the message behind it are really good, and honestly the visuals in this movie are just fantastic. As an artist, I really enjoyed looking at all of the beautiful graphics in this animated movie, and that kind of thing really inspires me to make art. So the character I'm drawing today, her name is Mirabel, and I've decided to draw this on my iPad using Procreate. It is my favorite drawing program, and I've decided to go with digital because it has been quite a while since I have done a digital illustration and they are just really fun. I've decided to go for a more lineless art style, mainly because I really just felt like doing a more sort of painterly style artwork where I'm not too focused on lines or anything like that. I tend to focus a lot on line art in my digital art, and I decided this time to go more painterly because I just felt in the mood for that. And I thought I would push the boundaries a little bit with trying to draw a person in a lineless style, which I don't think I have done, at least not too recently. My last acrylic painting actually was a person in a sort of lineless style, but that was more of a simplified minimal detail artwork, whereas this one I want to see if I can put a lot more detail into there. So I really love Mirabel's outfit, mainly because all of the characters in this movie have patterns on their clothes, sort of describing what sort of powers they have. Now if you've seen Encanto, you'll know that Mirabel is like one of the only characters that doesn't have any sort of magical powers, but I really love how she decorated her skirt and her top to basically have all of these embroidered details basically describing her family. Now to draw these embroidered details myself, I basically used a textured brush, and with bright colors I basically just drew all over the clothes in a separate layer, and I sort of tried to keep it nice and sketchy because it had to have this sort of stitched look to it, and honestly I really like the way that the embroidered details on her outfit came out. Now to shade her skin, this was slightly out of my comfort zone because I normally draw people with a lot of line art and then I'll go in later with the shadows and stuff like that, but this time I was just starting out with the block shapes that I drew with a slightly textured brush so that it would have a nice little textured outline. And then after that I used the airbrush tool and I sort of just carefully sketched out where each like thing was on her face, her nose, her mouth. As you can see when I turn off the sketch layer, that's what it looks like. It's very non-detailed at the moment. It was very interesting not having that line art layer to sort of help me, and I had to sort of just build up layers and layers of detail to try and get her facial features the way I liked. It was very interesting, but honestly it was refreshing and really fun. At the moment it kind of looks a bit funny. As you can see, she's bald and she's got like a missing eye. Well, now she's got an eye, but basically it looks kind of like a doll and kind of creepy, but yeah, that's just what I was feeling at the time. This is a bit of a trust the process type of thing because as I slowly add details over the top of each other in many different layers, we start to get the cuteness to come out. For her eyelashes and her eyebrows, I used one of the default hair brushes on Procreate. It was quite convenient, but I did have to sort of mess with the settings a little bit to make it look more natural, and yeah, I think it turned out alright. After this I went in with the mouth and I used different layers for the top and the bottom lips, and then I used the airbrush to sort of shade that to make it look a little bit more realistic. For her teeth, I didn't want to go too crazy into the details because that's when it starts looking a bit weird, so I just subtly hinted to the shape of her teeth, and then I just sort of shaded the edges a little bit to make it look a bit more natural and less like creepy, like she's smiling and staring into a soul. Next up I had to draw her nose, and this was a kind of a scary part because I am not the best at drawing noses. I find noses very weird and if I draw a sort of more cartoony sort of character, I'll just sort of simplify the nose, but you can't really do that when you're doing a more painterly style with no line art. It's less stylized, well, stylized in a different way. Now the time is to draw her hair, and this was a part that I was really excited to do because I recently bought these new Procreate brushes from a lovely artist called ByVegalia. I'm not sure how to pronounce that, but I'll leave a link in the description to her socials and her brushes if you want to get them yourself, because they are really pretty. And she has a whole bunch of different brushes for curly hair, and I just love it because you don't really see a lot of brushes for really curly, tight curled hair. Mainly the brushes you see on Procreate are for straight hair, and I think that this was really fun and inclusive as well. I think the textures were really beautiful and also fit really well with this art style as well. I love it. So for her hair, I used a base of black at the back just so that I would have some deep shadows, and then after this I would use a few different curly shaped brushes to layer on some lighter browny black colors to sort of get a nice realistic hair texture, and I think it worked quite well. At one point I felt like her face shape didn't really match the character quite well because I'm not the best at drawing people, but the good thing about digital is you can use the liquify tool to basically push things around and change the shape of something even after you've already drawn it, and I just love that. I love that you can do that kind of thing with digital. I think it's really convenient and it really does help a lot. Now I'm just adjusting the shadows and highlights a bit because I feel like I want a little bit more shadows and a little bit more highlights in there, get it a little bit more contrasty, and then after this it's time to go into the background. At first I wasn't sure what I wanted to do for the background. Obviously I wanted something cute and pretty that helped her sort of stand out nicely, and I decided with a few different colors, and then I used a few different brushes in the default Procreate brushes, and I used some like leaves and flowers and clouds and stuff like that, and also a snow brush which I think looks a bit more like sand, and I tried to pick them based off of her family members' magical powers just so that it hints to them a little bit. And I think the colors really help as well because the colors sort of symbolize her family members as well. After this I wanted to draw your eye to her face more, so I basically just copied and pasted the shape of her hair and then turned it bright yellow and then did a Gaussian blur, and that basically gives her head a nice soft glow of a bright yellowy color, which I think looks really pretty on the background. It really helps to make her hair stand out, and I think the contrast looks pretty good too. After this I had to adjust her skin tone a little bit so that it suited better with the background. I made it a little bit more on the pinkish side because of all the pink and stuff in the background that would obviously sort of match a little bit, and then I added some yellow highlights here and there because of the glowing butterfly next to her, and we are done. Honestly, I think this artwork's really pretty, and I love the textures that I got in here, and the colors just look really nice and vibrant, and I love all of the placement of all of the little details, and honestly I think I did a pretty good job in this. So anyways, if you like this video, please hit that like and subscribe button, and also comment below what you think of this artwork. And if you've seen the new Disney ENCANTO movie, I absolutely love it. Hope you're all having a wonderful day. Please stay safe out there, and I shall see you in my next video. Bye everyone.